music.
He's not a bat, he's a man who fights crime. And we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time. With John and Niall and a guest who doesn't rhyme. It's Bat Minute!
Hello, and welcome back once again to the hiatus period of Bat Minute Returns. I guess it's Bat Minute Beyond, because we're beyond Bat Minute Returns now, but we're kind of in between films, so Bat Minutes between?
Niall, Beyond would be the best name if it wasn't already a bloody thing.
Yeah, but that seems like, that's when we're done with all the films. Then you're Batman Beyond, but now we're, like, in the middle, so it's like, Batman in the cracks, or something like that.
Go on.
Ooh.
But yeah, we're here for the first hiatus episode of this season. We're here to talk about something that we threatened quite a bit throughout the entirety of Bat Minute Returns. We're here to analyze and critique this cataclysmic can of kitty litter that is the 2004 Pitof, because it was directed by a guy called Pitof. The Offering Catwoman. Starring Halle Berry.
Oh my god. I had not really seen the movie. I think I'd seen bits and pieces, but I hadn't sat and watched it. It was an experience. Yeah,
but to endure this experience with us, we have returning guests from the season, all the way from Mean Girls Minute, Liz Whitaker.
Hello.
And from, I don't think you have a podcast of your own, Alyson, but...
I sure don't. Thank God.
She's a squatter.
Don't do it.
Pod squatter.
From the many, many meme pages on Facebook,
Yes.
Alyson Grimm.
Friend and side chick of many podcasts. Hello.
I just, now all I can think is, like, we need to come up with a title, like, because you said Meme Master General.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Meme queen.
Oh, meme queen. Oh, surely you should be the meme girls.
Meme girls.
Oh.
That's good.
That is good.
I also want to say that I like that Liz has only seen like 6 movies in her life, and now one of them is Catwoman.
I've added this one to the list. Excellent. I make good choices.
Do you hate us now, or are we still in your good books?
I blame Alyson more than you, so you're both fine.
Like, I remember this movie coming out and been like, because I was a hardcore Batman fan when I was a kid, and I remember seeing like all the publicity for it and been like, that looks terrible. I'm never watching that. And then over the years been like, it looks like it'll be really boring, and just like, oh, why would anyone sit through this? And then I watched it, and I absolutely loved it. This was such a treasure for me.
I also loved it.
Because it is, like, there's no doubt about it. This is terrible. But it is terrible in the best possible way.
It's, like, transcendently terrible.
Yes, that's one of my notes is that, like, just from the beginning, when you know that when you see something is directed by an entity with a single name, like, it's just going to be so next level that, like, our measly human brains will not be able to comprehend it.
We're not ready for him.
We were not ready.
As soon as his name came up, I had to pause the movie. I already couldn't take anymore. I had to go and Google this. Directed by Pitof. Yeah. He sounds like a fashion designer or something. I couldn't wrap my head around who this man was. Why have I never heard of him?
Well, he sounds like a fashion designer stereotype from like a 90s cartoon.
Oh, yeah.
Like the photographer guy from Rocko's Modern Life.
Oh, my God.
He sounds like the name that a photographer in this movie would have.
Exactly. Yeah. Or just the name of the lead villain in the movie. Like, you might as well call him Pitof. Pitof. Although he's not even the main villain, because that's the weird thing about this is, like, it is actively, judging by one shot in the movie, it is a continuation of Batman Returns.
Kind of?
In a weird way. It's also a kind of remake, and it's also basically a remake of, like, the mask as well, because it's the same story. Like it's just like, yeah, take the mask, and instead of him putting on a mask, she becomes like a Catwoman, and there you go.
I mean, this is spoilers, but instead of putting on a mask, a CGI cat breathes into her mouth.
Oh my god! And then she takes off most of her clothes.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
in the least practical Catwoman outfit I think I've ever seen.
Why are they boot cut?
Why?
How do you?
Because it was made in 2003.
I understand that it is of the time. That's why there's so much velour and also an intensely erotic basketball scene. But like,
oh god, we need to get to that at some point. Oh.
Well, that's the thing. Like, it's coming straight off. Like, you know, Batman Returns. It's weird because we kept saying throughout the entirety of that whole film, it's like, this is such a timely movie for 2019, because like the themes in it still really resonate like today more than they even did back in 1992. And like, even though it was like all this kind of German expressionistic, very dated kind of look about it, it was kind of timeless because you didn't really have an era it was set in. It's just like, oh, this could be occurring in some alternate universe where people dress like this, and it just sort of exists in this noirish German expressionist weird nightscape. Whereas this is like a complete relic of the early 2000s.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
There's no other time this could have come
Everyone
out.
has that hairdo still now. Surely, yes.
There was a great summary, actually, from... found a quote from one of the writers, a guy, John Rogers, who was...
This movie didn't have writers.
Written by
It had
cats.
3 writers.
Fumblers, maybe.
Yeah. Three damn writers this thing took. And when apparently recently disgraced journalist Denise McAllister, when she said, Michelle Obama says it's about time black kids have a superhero that reflects who they are. Why didn't we hear this when Halle Berry was Catwoman years ago? And John Rogers, one of the writers of this, responded with as one of the credited writers of Catwoman, I believe I have the authority to say, because it was a movie dumped by the studio at the end of its style cycle, and had zero cultural relevance either in front of or behind the camera.
Oh.
Ooh.
I mean, he's right, but still.
Meow.
Oh.
Claws out.
Oh, that is astonishing that he would even admit that. Does he still write movies?
Oh yeah, he's still... Everyone involved is still working. I think he does a lot of stuff for like the Sci-Fi Channel.
That says a lot.
So he's still
Yeah, I think
making
he was-
high quality
That's about right.
products.
Oh yeah. Stuff that we're probably going to cover in the future, let's be honest.
Yeah. He did. I think he wrote the story for the first Transformers movie. So...
The story's okay in that. That's not the problem.
And then, he worked on like Eureka.
Oh,
Eureka.
I
I
really
thought you were
enjoyed
going to
that.
say urethra.
Oh, well, at
Urethra.
first I thought you were going to say Eureka's Castle. But I loved the show Eureka. It was cute and campy, and
Yeah.
Yeah, he also did The Librarians as well, so I guess that's in the same kind of vein. So you never know. Maybe he's doing great work outside of Catwoman. But and then he co-wrote it with I think he must have done a draft, and then these fellas, John Braccato and Michael Ferris, who were like a writing duo, they came in and took a shot at it.
Blame
And
them.
Yeah, they are apparently responsible for the screenplays to Terminator 3 and Terminator 4.
Oh, no.
As well as the movie The Net, featuring that girl from the bus. So there's a deep cut Seinfeld reference for people there. But yeah, he wrote the Net with Sandra Bullock, who of course has starred with Benjamin Bratt, star of this movie in several other films.
Everything's connected.
Yeah, Miss Congeniality and Demolition Man. I was like, hey, those both high quality films. So
Sorry, I just took a brief meander to Pitof's Wikipedia page to see if he was still working. And he was the visual effects supervisor on the movie Delicatessen. Have you seen that? Any of you?
Yeah,
Okay,
of
good.
course not.
Amazing. Yeah. Liz.
of course not.
It's so good.
Well, the thing is, he was actually he worked with Jean-Pierre Jeunet on every film except for anything after Alien Resurrection. So
Oh, we got rid of him after that.
I guess maybe in Alien Resurrection he's like, that's it, I'm out of here, Jean. Like, I'm going to the big time. It's Pitof's time to shine.
I want to know what he's up to. Like, do you think he's on Instagram? I'm going to look him up.
Do you
I dug into him and
You dug in?
and I found that apparently him and Sharon Stone were set to make a film together that was also due to star Billy Zane and Gina Gershon. And this report said, like, yep, this is going to happen. Start shooting this summer. That report came out in 2013, and the film has yet to materialize. So
that's just because they're perfecting it now. They're chiseling perfection from granite.
Yeah, I have to say, fair play to Sharon Stone too. If she's like, I like this guy. I don't care that this movie was terrible. I'm gonna keep working with him.
Well, she notoriously hates this film and everything about it, which is, I understand that, but I think her performance is okay considering. I like her character despite being evil.
Yeah, she chews up the scenery like one of my cats chews on paper bags.
Which is exactly what you want in this movie, because the tone of this thing is all over the place. Like, it's kind of doing it's kind of like the 60s Batman, but then it's also trying to be hip and cool and new and a little bit dark and a bit sexy. And I don't know, they can't quite nail what they're going for. It's not campy enough. I don't know, it's weird.
I really felt like they were trying to do, like, Into the Spider-Verse, but they failed. Like, they didn't go far enough because the camera angles felt very much like they were comic book panels, and people spoke in one-liners like you would expect to see in a speech bubble, and they just didn't.
That's a really good
point.
They
just didn't take it quite far enough. And I think if they had pushed just a little bit further, this movie would be Into the Spider-Verse level loved. No, not quite there.
God, no.
They would have had to push a lot further.
No.
But like pushed a little bit further, and I think it could have been like a cult classic. But it's just, they didn't go far enough. It took itself just a little bit too seriously.
I'm genuinely surprised it's not a cult classic. I feel like a lot of people have maybe just joked about how bad it was and slept on how amazingly bad it was.
It's true. I mean, it won won, if that's the right word, the Golden Razzie.
Yeah.
And Halle Berry actually turned up and accepted it in person, which I think takes some balls. That's great. And made fun of it in her speech.
She did, like, she famously was crying in her Oscar acceptance speech, and then she was fake crying as she accepted the Razzie and stuff. And
I also like the way, though, she kind of tried to prove a point by turning up to accept the Razzie whilst holding her Oscar.
Right.
As if to say, yeah, I can't actually act. Honest.
Well, I feel bad for Halle Berry, because I actually think she's pretty good in this, considering the material. And I know that your partner, John Lowell, seems to have an abject hatred of Halle Berry.
We both do.
Well, why? What? I can understand, like, oh yeah, she was terrible as Storm in the X-Men movies, but that's only because of the material, though. That's just like, hey, like, James Marsden's a great actor.
Yeah, but
he was a terrible Cyclops. That's the material he was given.
How many times can you keep blaming the material?
Well, they played them 3 times.
To be fair, Cyclops is terrible, so how do you be a good Cyclops?
He's like he's just a piece of, like, Melba toast.
Okay, I was going to say man meat, but okay, I'm going with Melba
toast.
toast.
Hardcore X-Men fans who are like, Cyclops is like, they're constantly telling me, like, you haven't seen Cyclops yet. You haven't seen how, like, the Cyclops character from the comics has not been portrayed on screen yet. They're just like, he is the greatest character. It's insane that they've not made him more of a thing in the films and stuff. So apparently Cyclops is a great character somewhere, but just not when James Marsden's playing him.
No, they're tricking us. They're trying to make us read X-Men.
I watch the cartoons. I feel like as a child, I feel like I'm an expert.
Did you watch X-Men Evolution?
Do you think I remember the actual title? I don't know. I played Rogue at recess.
Well, no. This was the one that would have been on when we were in, like, high school.
No.
Okay.
I don't know which one I saw. I think what was just the normal default 90s one?
I think that was just X-Men, the
just
animated
X-Men.
series.
Yeah.
Oh, right. I've probably seen that one then. Because I remembered really liking Gambit, who would throw those, like, exploding playing cards.
Yeah.
But when you actually think about that, it's absolutely stupid.
But he's so charming, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I had a big old crush on Gambit.
That's his actual superpower. It's his charm.
That's the most devilish superpower of all.
I know. I think it might have been a generational thing. I know a couple of friends of mine grown woman now who are like they have a real thing for Gambit. It's like I think it was like that was the introduction to like the bad boy basically because like
Gambit,
sure.
the bad
Gambit.
because he's not like as aggressive as Wolverine. He's a bit of a sleazebag, but he's also very charming and stuff. He's kind of got like he jokes around with things that could be like, hey, maybe this guy's taking too far, but he never does take it too far because he's actually a good guy at heart and stuff.
There's just
like,
the implication.
It's just
But
the
he's gonna take
implication,
it too
exactly. Yes. It's like
We should probably talk about Catwoman.
Yeah, yes, Catwoman.
Now, we're not going through minute by minute, obviously, people. That would be insane, and you'd kill us, and we'd kill ourselves. But I did like the beginning, the very, very beginning of the movie, because...
they know how to suck me in.
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, there's loads of stuff about the history of cats, which, I as you well know, everybody, I love cats. I have a cat. She's my child. So it's going on about how Egyptians worshipped them and things, which I didn't expect in a Catwoman movie, but okay. And then it had one of my favorite things. It had Bast, or Bastet, there's two different names, the Egyptian god. So it made me do a little bit of research on her, who I love, but I don't know loads about her. So when I looked into it, the name means she of the ornament jar, which I don't know what the hell that's meant to mean, but that's what it means. And she was a fierce lioness, warrior, goddess of the sun, which sounds amazing. But then she changed a little bit over the years and became a protector of the king, which is slightly less ferocious. Oh, and also of the sun god Ra, who needs protection, apparently. I don't really know why. It's one of those, though, that they have like 1,000 names. She's also known as the Eye of the Moon, which is very cat-like, I think.
Yeah.
And it's also a goddess of pregnancy and childbirth. And of protection against diseases and evil spirits. So that's a hell of a lot of work she's doing.
I think a lot of those old-time gods, they had their work cut out for them. I was like, my God, so much to do today.
That's crazy.
Which is ironic considering she's a cat. My cats don't do anything.
Right.
They're lazy.
I wish they pulled their weight like that.
That's why the cats are laying around lazy, because they've been doing all this at night when you're asleep.
Oh.
They've had busy lives, you know. Let them rest. It's their time.
Well, that's the thing, though, because, these opening credits where they're showing you all these little flashes, historical documents about, like, past Catwoman and things like that. It's weird, because this is, like, identical to the opening credits of Sleepwalkers, which is, I don't know if you guys have seen Sleepwalkers. It's another...
Not.
Oh, it's another atrocious mid-90s Stephen King adaptation where he wrote the script himself, so there's no one to blame this time, Steve. You balls this one up yourself.
And if it was 90s, he couldn't blame cocaine.
But it's, that's, I think it was like an original story he wrote. It's like, I've just written the script wholesale here. And it's the movie where, we call it Madgen Amick is dating Leo from Charmed. And it turns out he's like a cat-like vampire who's also scared of cats, who is having an affair, who has a woman in his house who he's having a sexual affair with, who turns out to be his mother. Oh, and it's what? Like it's a batshit nuts.
That's upsetting.
And
that's happened to all of us, right?
Well, but it's Stephen King, so it goes in like it's kind of it's obviously set in Maine. It's got the kind of usual Stephen King charm. It goes into very, very cheesy, very wackadoo kind of territory, which some people might like that. It actually is a very entertaining film. So, but the thing is, the opening credits are exactly like this. So when I was watching it, I was like, "This is did I put on Sleepwalkers by mistake? Like, what the hell's going on here?"
I need to see Sleepwalkers now. You've sold it to me. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
The opening scene is Mark Hamill as a cop finding an abandoned house, and there's a bunch of dead cats hung up outside. Oh. And then inside, he finds like a desiccated mummy, where it's like, oh, this woman must have died years and years ago. And then it turns out, like, oh, she only died recently, and it's not an old woman. It's actually a little girl who's been...
This sounds like an X-Files episode or something.
Again, this is how Stephen King gets you. This setup is like, what the hell's going on? This is so intriguing.
And then he doesn't deliver.
And then when you find out what it is, like, yes, they're like vampire cat people, and one of them shagging his mom. And then there's a big fight outside a police station or something, and a bunch of explosions happens, and then it's over. And you're like, oh, that really didn't deliver.
So are you advocating Stephen King to actually revert to the J.J. Abrams mystery box idea?
I think he just maybe like he needs a guy to just tell him how to end things. Like maybe he needs a co-writer who can be
Well, he did that with 11/22/63. His son Joe Hill actually came up with the ending to the book, which is why it has a good ending.
Well, there you go.
You just got anyone else. Like, can somebody please just finish this?
That's a really good book, by the way. I recommend it.
I actually haven't read the book. That's awful. I need to.
Oh,
You
it
should.
is.
It's
It is.
great.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's exactly the kind of thing I would like, so I don't know why I haven't, other than the fact that I'm lazy.
I'm actually currently reading a Joe Hill book, ironically enough.
Oh, which one?
Nosferatu.
Oh, Nosferatu. That one's really good.
Yeah, I'm nearly finished
Yeah, I
it.
enjoyed it.
It's also a vampire thing as well.
Yes.
But,
There's a show of that coming out, isn't there? There's an advert on on the back of one of my comics.
I think that.
Yeah, I heard it wasn't very good.
Yeah,
Oh.
but I have heard. I think when I picked up the book, I'd heard like, yes, this TV show is coming out as well, and they're like, this TV show is awful, but the book's really good. So I was like, oh, I'll keep reading the book anyway.
Yeah, ignore the TV show then. Delete this from the podcast, Niall. I never mentioned it. Never.
Yeah, Joe Hill doesn't have a good track record with film adaptations because Horns wasn't very good, and they've put out like 4 pilots for a Lock and Key TV series that's never materialized.
That's one I keep meaning to catch up with Lock and Key, but it's like
Also very good.
But it's one of those things. It's like to buy the graphic novels of it, or it's so expensive. So it's like, oh my god, there's so many of them as well. So this is like waiting for the local library. It's like, you got Lock and Key in yet? Like, we're not getting it, sir. Please get out of here.
Oh, I wanted to say one thing. You mentioned before about the Catwomans of history.
Oh yeah.
And I actually, I don't like that in say the Tim Burton world, but in its own separate universe, I really like the idea that Catwoman is like a mythical historical figure.
Right, I think people got the wrong idea with this. Like, no. Oh, you thought this movie was Catwoman? Oh, no. She's not Catwoman. She's a Catwoman.
Yeah. That's cool. I think that's interesting. Like it's passed down. It's a bit like the Slayer in Buffy, you know.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, and if you're going to go all out with the supernatural, then this is the way to take it.
Yeah.
I think.
But it is kind of baffling then that you could do that and have it be completely separate. But then we might as well just jump around the whole plot anyway, because the film's a mess. Why not just
Nobody watched this movie.
When Frances Conroy, when she does that bit where she pushes Halle Berry off the friggin' stairs and she lands like a cat, and all the pictures are scattered in front of her, showing the past Catwoman. There's a picture of Michelle Pfeiffer, right there in front of her.
What?
Oh, I missed that.
I missed that too.
Oh, it's a real blink and you'll miss it kind of thing, but it's there, and it's just like...
I had to read about it. I didn't notice it.
But it wasn't Michelle Pfeiffer in Batman Returns. It was just Michelle Pfeiffer.
just a picture of her. It was
Just a picture of her they took from the bushes following her home.
Frances Conroy in this is gold.
Yeah, she's my favorite part. Oh, well, her, it's either Frances Conroy or Alex Borstein's chest.
The thirstiest character in movie history.
Well, that's the thing, because like once you get past the opening credits, you get into like the movie kind of for like the first 20 minutes is like a rom-com, basically. Like everything about it is like, Halle Berry's like, oh, she's the successful in life but unlucky in love, shy girl, and then Alex, American treasure, Alex Borstein. Most people would probably know her as the voice of Lois Griffin in Family Guy,
or the principal from the Lizzie McGuire movie.
Of course, yes, we all know that.
I was going to say the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
She played the crazy old dress lady on Gilmore Girls, Miss Celine. She was also Drella, the cellist in the pilot.
Yeah, I think that's actually because I've been trying to catch up with Gilmore Ball Z, so I've been rewatching Gilmore Girls and then having to watch Dragon Ball Z alongside it.
Having to watch Dragon Ball Z.
You have to understand what's going on.
What? What is?
Oh, I'm surprised you've not heard of it, Alyson. There's a podcast called Gilmore Ball Z, where a couple are watching. Like, I think the husband of the couple hadn't seen Gilmore Girls, and the wife hadn't seen Dragon Ball Z, so they're watching it side by side to see if there's any comparisons, and then basically just talk about it.
And there are comparisons.
Oh yeah, the first episodes, like, you can see there's a similar setup here. Like, but it's weird because Alex Borstein is in like Drella, the harp player, is blatantly set up at the beginning of the show. It's like, this is going to be a recurring character. Like, Jarella is, like, she's in, like, the first 5 episodes. And then she just vanishes without a trace. As if they were just like, get rid of her. We don't want her here, or something.
Oh, God.
And I think,
we need
like,
the gossip on this.
I don't know. I think Alex Borson was originally supposed to play Suki. And then something, I guess maybe Melissa McCarthy was better, so they cast her. Or maybe there's a scheduling thing or something. And they might have just thrown this part as a bone. And then it just didn't work out. But, of course, many years later, Amy Sherman-Palladino would cast her as, like, the second lead in the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. So, I guess, you know, there was nothing personal there. They're all friends and
No,
stuff.
I think they're friends. And, well, because Daniel Palladino wrote on Family Guy for, like, ever.
Oh, there you go.
So, that, like, they've had an ongoing, well, I guess I assume there's an ongoing relationship, but that's my Palladino minute.
That'd be a good podcast. Somebody do that, please. Just review all of their work.
Well, there's a podcast called Gilmore Guys that basically got you covered.
Oh, there you go. Actually, you know what? Now you've said it, I have seen that on Twitter. I'm sure it was Twitter. I've seen them posting somewhere.
And they do Maisel too, but Marvelous Mrs. Maisel Goys.
I actually haven't seen that.
It's like so close to being like, is this offensive? Can we say this? Like,
They discussed that in their first episode.
I haven't seen it yet, but I really wanted to just because of how much Scott Corelli liked it.
I remember actually when me and Lowell were on Mean Girls Minute, me and Liz were hardcore selling the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel door at one point. So,
just for the costumes, I think.
Yeah. Oh, it's a fantastic show.
We're always way behind with everything. We've just started watching Pose. I mean, that's on like season 2. We're not that far yet. But
anyway, because the opening scene is like, so Halle Berry's essentially playing the lead character of a rom-com, and Alex Borstein is her BFF. And then within this, rom-com office life, there's like a really camp gay friend who's there as well.
Mm-hmm.
When Benjamin
ticking
Bratt
all the
comes
boxes for the 2000s.
Yeah. When
they work at a cosmetics company because lady film.
Yeah, that will get the women into the theaters. You see,
that does seem to be the mentality. Was just like, well, this has to be about women.
Women aren't
going
to see a comic book movie.
And what Pitof and the 3 male writers were presumably like, well, the movie's about a woman, so what do women like?
Where do women have jobs?
It's either a fashion magazine or a cosmetics company.
That's insane. Now you've actually laid it out there, Niall. This movie was written and directed solely by men.
Yeah.
And it's a movie about women.
As evidenced by the fact that the husband of the husband-wife cosmetic company owners is like a real bad dude, but the movie tells us that the wife is the real villain.
Yeah, it sets him up as if he's the villain for a bit, and then it kind of tries to make you sort of feel sorry for him that she's turned on him.
That was quite bizarre.
I didn't feel sorry for him at all.
Well, no, they failed miserably in pulling it off. Yeah,
maybe they thought it was like it's too similar to Max Schreck because it's like, oh, this is essentially just Catwoman versus Max Schreck again. So they're like, maybe we'll throw like a twist where it turns out that his wife is more evil. Because at the beginning, I thought Sharon Stone, I was kind of on a little bit on her side. Like she's getting ousted from the company due to her age and stuff like that.
No, I'm totally on her side because you know from second one what's going on. You know he's trying to push her aside because she's too old. And he's replacing her with a younger model. And you know he's sleeping with the younger model.
Yeah.
You know it.
Oh, yeah.
But it's I thought it was quite bizarre though. Within this giant company, they go into the lobby and every single picture is Sharon Stone. And it's like as if she's the only model they have.
Is your office lobby not like that?
I'm the model in mine.
That was just maybe it's an American thing.
Yeah, it's cultural. We just didn't understand it.
But it's just I'm pretty sure companies hire more than one model. Like it just seems like, oh, she's the face of the company, so that's the only person we use. Yeah,
because it's portraying them as if they're a very big sort of fashion house, aren't they? It's not like a small time thing.
Yeah, and it seems like
normally you have a different face for each of your flagship products. And so this makes it seem like they've only got the one product that they're not having
that they're like
released
just
yet.
unveiling.
That they have not released yet.
We'll also say the guy playing the nefarious, Max Schreck-esque character is an actor called Lambert Wilson. And his other Hollywood, he's a very successful French actor, but his other forays into Hollywood include the 2 Matrix sequels and Babylon AD. So those two with Catwoman is like this guy's Hollywood career is just like it's
Babylon
gold.
AD of
Solid
this.
gold.
Hollywood gold. You book him and your movie's going straight to the top.
Who is he in The Matrix then? Is he the French guy in The Matrix?
That's him. That's the guy.
Okay. Who's got the 2 twins who work for him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, you can tell this is so, like, this isn't just like, post-Matrix where, like, everyone was doing bullet time and stuff like that. This is, like, it's long enough after the Matrix where it's like, they're still doing it, but you should have stopped this a while back.
You should know by now.
What's going to be surprising is, they're working on a new Matrix movie. I don't know if it's a sequel or a reboot, or I hope it's not a reboot. That's ridiculous. But, that'd be funny, though, if you called it Matrix Reboot. Because, like a computer. But it'd be interesting to see if they do bullet time. Because that is so integral to the Matrix.
But it's also so of that time.
It's so of the time, and we're all so sick of it.
Yeah.
But has it looped back around now, where if we saw it, we'd be kind of nostalgic for it? I don't know.
I think it's still used enough in really cheap TV shows that it probably still, people are like, I still see it all the time. Like, I think it's the kind of thing that would have been used in, like, Arrow and stuff. Where they're like, oh no, we still crack out bullet time. When
Can you put it in the new Matrix then?
Do you want? I mean, if the goal is to have the new Matrix feel like you're watching it on the CW, then go for it.
Oh God, no! No offense to CW shows, but no, please. The Matrix needs to be higher quality.
Because this film as well also has, like, in its color correction and stuff, like the nighttime shoots, there's a real green sheen over everything.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it's hard to tell because this guy's worked with Jean-Pierre Jeunet so much. Is he getting it from him or is he getting it from the Matrix? Like, it's sort of. Pitof's one note he got in director school was like, green! Put a green filter on everything.
It works for Genet's movies, like even in Alien Resurrection, not great movie. I like the colors going on in it. It looks nice.
That was a weird, I think it was a thing of the early 2000s though, because even Fight Club and stuff has a kind of weird bluish green tinge to everything. And it just seemed like very, like, even... Well, there was a lot of movies. I remember Traffic had a bit of that too, but they really color corrected every freaking sequence. Where, like, when it was in the desert, it was like the most orange of orange, and then when it was in the city, it's blue as anything, and all this kind of stuff. So,
well, now it's all orange and teal.
Well, the classics.
Yeah.
But what I will say about the color of this movie, I watched it during the day, and I could still see what was happening, even in the nighttime scenes. So my old lady eyes are not angry about that.
You know what? That's an excellent point. Yeah, I watched it in the day, and that's the same. I often have problems because my house is very bright downstairs, and I keep saying I'm going to get blackout curtains for the room with the TV. And I never
do it! It's life-changingly amazing. My TV is across from a giant 10-foot window, and I got cheap ones from IKEA. They're amazing, and they mean I don't burn to a crisp in the summer when I try to watch television.
Perfect, because I often can't see a thing. Sometimes we'll be watching a show, like a Saturday morning or something, like, we'll put this show on, and we have to stop. Like Stranger Things, we were watching season 3. Sometimes we had to stop and wait till later in the day, because I'm just like, I have no idea what's going on.
I mean, in the living room downstairs, we have... There's a projector. There's a projector goes to the wall, and during the daytime, it's like no, it's just not happening. It's like you will if it's sunny out, you ain't gonna get seeing anything on Aga. But it does work because we have we have Killian, the little 1-year-old downstairs, and it works because his mom is always saying, like, whenever he wants to watch TV, but it's like it's too early. She doesn't let him watch anything until like after 5 p.m. So when the sun's out, she's just like, the TV doesn't work when it's sunny out. So I think she's raising him to believe, like, oh yeah, when it's sunny outside, the TV just will not work at all.
Oh my god, this kid's going to grow up so screwed up. He'll be really confused when he goes to school.
But he'll also be the most prepared child in his class when the world apocalypse happens and we have to survive without television.
Oh, that's true. What would we do without television? Would we just do like live reenactments of Catwoman?
I think probably, yes.
Like, what would we podcast about?
We would just be traveling troubadour groups talking about movies we once watched.
Oh, and passing the stories on to the children.
Yes.
Like people.
Have you guys? I have a book
Station
recommendation.
11?
Station 11. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I have not heard of it.
It's a great book. It's about like in a post-apocalyptic world, a traveling theater troupe.
Yeah, that wasn't an original concept of mine. I apologize for if anyone believed it was.
How dare you trick us?
It's like the author of that book writing, and it's like, what the hell you think you're doing? Listen.
Get our podcast taken down. Because we're such big shots in Hollywood these days, you know.
But anyway, the beginning of Catwoman.
Yeah, well, I've got one thing to say as well. I hate her name.
Oh.
Right?
What was her name again?
Patience.
Phillips.
Patience. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is very comic book. You know, you've got your alliteration in there. They always go for that, you know, Peter Parker and things like that.
But can it be alliteration if they don't start with the same sound? Isn't it about the sounds?
Well, that's the thing. That's what I was going to say. It's like they're going for that, and they're miserably failing at it. And that is not a human being's name. Like, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's stupid. Come up with a real name, or just make her Selena Kyle again. Whatever.
That's the thing. Like, because what does it mean? In like, it's like, oh, they're trying her patience. Like,
it's a real Puritan name.
Very. I do kind of like that though. I was watching. I watched that show Salem, and they all had names like that, like, you know, Charity and things like this, and
Temperance.
Yeah.
Virtues, essentially.
I really like that. It's ridiculous, and you never would have got it, as far as I know, in England. So it's like an alien concept to me.
Well, but the fact though that they did rename the character, so there was obviously at some point, because I've been trying to look into, like, you know, the production of this movie, and we covered a little bit of it in Batman It Returns, when we're saying like, oh yeah, of course. So afterwards, they had Dan Waters delivered a draft of a Catwoman movie the day Batman Forever premiered, and he was just like, that kind of screwed me because it was a really dark script, and then they had just had this massive success with Batman Forever, and then they're just like, nope, check that out. They got John August in to write a script. That got chucked out. And so we're working on this for like, well, at this point, like 2004 this comes out. So that's 12 years of like hammering out a Catwoman script. And like, it must have been at some point, like someone in Warner Brothers was just like, whatever script you have at the minute, like, just make that film. I'm sick of it. I've been coming in here every day for 10 years.
This script took 12 years to write. You can really see, like, you can feel the passion and the purpose behind every minute of it.
I think they're still actually trying to write it to this day.
It's the only living script.
That's what Pitof's been up to all these years. Is like, he's coming out with Catwoman special edition. It's like, no, we got it right this time. Don't worry. It's like, everyone who bought a ticket the first time, come back to the cinema. We'll let you in. Yeah, don't worry.
If he released that, I would be there day one.
I would too. He's preparing the Criterion edition.
Oh my god, yes. Enter this, please, into the Criterion collection.
If ever a film deserves the honor.
But it does have a slight vibe of just like, some executive at Warner Brothers was like, I've come in here every day for 10 years, and I've seen the word Catwoman written up on a blackboard with projects in development, and I want it off that blackboard. So just write just whatever script you got. And then someone was like, we can't do a continuation, so we're just like, rub out Selena Kyle and just write in whatever name comes to the top of your head. Patience. Like, literally walking around here, and some guy in the corner is like, you're really trying my patience. And he's like, patience.
And they're like, that's a joke. It's going to go in the movie.
Yeah. No. He says, you're really trying my patience, Phillips.
Oh. Or like he looked over and he had like a Phillips head screwdriver on his desk. Like Phillips.
He's talking to his screwdriver.
You don't do that?
I mean,
I do.
That's how you get them to work, isn't it? The plot as well is intriguing, because the villainous plot, let's just make it simple. We'll boil it down. Patience works for a cosmetics company. that are selling suspect, dodgy, faulty products that actually harm people physically. It burns their face and whatnot. Now, at first, I was like, well, that's stupid. That's really far-fetched. But then I actually sat and thought about it. And you know what? Knowing some businesses out there, this could actually happen in real life. I've changed my mind completely on it.
The thing is, as well, this is a plot line that was done in the Batman animated series, but it wasn't anything to do with Catwoman. It was the origin story of Clayface, whereas that there was a company run by Roland Daggett, who was supposed to be Max Schreck. Then they were planning to adapt the show. They were like, yeah, we're going to bring Max Schreck into the show. And then they decided, like, no, we created a wholesale new character called Roland Daggett. And then they wrote a plot line. It's like, yeah, he's the head of a cosmetics company that has this cream that will it will hide blemishes on your face and stuff. Yeah. A whole bunch of stuff happens, and then the guy gets freaking... It's a very traumatic episode. It's a very, very dark thing where, like, yeah, they shove chemicals down his throat, turns into Clayface and stuff. And then, of course, years later, they kind of weirdly sort of readapt it into a Catwoman movie with a villain that is basically Max Schreck again. So there's something going on in the Warner Brothers department of the mid-90s. We're like, this is a good idea. We're just gonna try to slot it into everything, apparently.
Maybe Warner Brothers had a beef with a cosmetics company in real life, and we're trying to just, get one up on them.
Yeah.
We know what you're up to.
It's like, this moisturizer didn't moisturize everything, damn it.
Also, like, her death, I didn't like her death, because obviously... Selina in Batman Returns, it's quite scary. She gets pushed out the window. It's very immediate and physical and visceral. It's real. But in this movie, she discovers the plot, runs away down like a water pipe where the cosmetics run off, and the security guards like flush her to death.
Right, so she's like covered in poop.
Yes.
But there's like a moment where you're like, okay, well, if she just thought about like how pipes worked, and when she gets to the end of it, realizes I can touch the top of this pipe, maybe I can try and get on the top of no, I'm just going to stand here and make a scared face at the water.
Yes, because her character's so meek at this point. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Come on, you'd try anything.
It's pretty ballsy, though, for the film to be like, this thing could turn out to be terrible. Let's literally have the main character get flushed down a toilet at the
right.
It's like, are you making some kind of meta comment while you're making
really just where it belongs.
At this point, too, she's also wearing the world's most inexplicable outfit.
That she's been wearing for 2 days.
Yeah.
Hey, that's realistic. I wear the same thing to work for about 3 or 4 days in a row.
But everyone in the office did it as well. They all wore the same thing 2 days in a row.
That had to have been some sort of, editing mishap.
Yeah.
When it comes to work clothes, I wear it until the armpits smell. Basically.
you wear something that distinctive?
Everything I wear is distinctive. I'll get up, you'd give it the old sniff test, like, how's this doing? I can get another day out of that.
I used to be 2 days minimum, and then as life has gone on, I've gone to 3 days. So I'm like, you know what? I can't be bothered doing the ironing today.
You work from home. You can work in your underpants.
Hey, my HR department's been getting a lot of complaints recently, John. Let me tell you.
From you?
Yeah, from me.
I don't need to see that when I'm trying to work.
I have to say, I was a fan of the outfit, though. I was like, I think if I was a woman, I would wear something like that.
It looked very comfortable, but I don't know if I would wear it to work.
No. That's a no from me.
I just couldn't figure out how the shirts worked. Like, was it one shirt?
How many were there?
Was it a shirt with, a apron over it?
Was it, an artist smock? Because she's an artist?
To show how artsy she is.
Oh, yeah. I hadn't thought about that, actually. That's very of the time, though, wearing that many layers, even though it's not the winter.
Yeah, it was a rough time.
I still do this sometimes, and people have mocked me. Long sleeve t-shirt and then a short sleeve over the top.
Yeah, I can't believe this, John. That's what I've got on right now.
There you go.
In tribute to Catwoman, I've purposely worn this outfit today.
Just pair that with some Jinkos and you're good to go.
I would kill for a pair of Jinkos.
Have they had a comeback yet? Surely they have.
They have, haven't they?
I think so.
Don't I? I
that...
feel like I talk about this all the time on podcasts.
Is that just memes, though? I see a lot of memes about Jinkos, but are people actually wearing them?
No, I think you can buy them now, and they're very expensive.
Oh, I'll pay any amount.
Because they're like a nostalgia treat.
Oh.
They're beautiful, though. I don't care if it's bad fashion, right? As long as it's bold. If you're going out there, balls to the wall, I'm happy.
Go it.
Yeah.
Go hard or go home.
Hell
Yeah. As of July 1, Jinko jeans relaunch. They're
Oh my god.
They're relaunching.
Wait, this July? Like
July 1 this year. Jinko jeans relaunch.
I guess that's a good segue to us to get a word from our sponsors, Jinko Jeans. Guys, I love Jinko Jeans. If you're
Let
out...
me tell you about Jinko.
But,
surely after that article we all saw about podcasting, though, we should be giving up now. We haven't been sponsored yet.
I know. I thought we were bound to be into thousands of dollars streaming in by now, but no. But
tens of dollars.
Not even that. Not
we
even
sold
ones
a couple
of dollars.
Twos of dollars.
Hey, Niall, we sold that Baby Grow once on TeePublic. Yeah, so.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Get back to I have to go back to Patient's outfit here though, because I do love that, because it looks it's like a backless thing she's got on. It's like a backless shirt, kind of smock thing with a
over a backed shirt
over a blue long sleeve shirt.
With extremely long sleeves, and you can tell that she's meek because she hides her hands in her sleeves.
And then one thing that really bugs me is that there's a scene where there's a cat stuck on a vent outside her apartment, and for some reason she feels she needs to go out to get the cat. And instead of just going down and getting a ladder or like phoning the fire department, she climbs out barefoot, wearing the whole outfit but barefoot, onto the air vent thing or the air conditioner.
Air conditioner, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like if this is what kills you and how you become Catwoman.
You deserve it.
You don't deserve to become Catwoman. You deserve to just die.
You deserve to die.
Yeah, your time is done.
That blew my mind because, I mean, at an extreme push, I might possibly, maybe do that for my cat, right? But that cat wasn't distressed.
Yeah.
It was happy.
Right.
It's a cat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's
been a cat.
It also has, I think they're trying to allude to the fact that Benjamin Bratt's cop character, who has, what was it when he enters the office earlier? The gay best friend across from Patient's booth says like, "Oh hey, man sandwich, 12 o'clock," because essentially they were making a rom-com at the start of this damn thing.
They lied to all the actors. They didn't tell them what it really was.
Also,
oh sorry.
and since we're jumping around here, can I just point out that's the same cat as like from the pictures at the beginning?
Yeah,
that shitty CGI cat is like immortal and has been turning all of these Catwomen throughout history.
Yeah,
I want a movie about just this cat.
Following it.
I'm angry that they CGI'd this cat doing normal cat things. Like,
oh my god, the CGI cat was amazing. I laughed so hard at that CGI cat.
But like, why? It was doing cat things.
It was just kind of
CGI
walking and standing.
Just get a cat.
I mean, maybe you could get away with, CGIing it for when it walks up and breathes, into it. Because making a cat walk up to a person is a pain. But every other time, it's just kind of sitting there doing nothing.
And like its head is so much bigger than its body or something.
It's very odd.
It doesn't have proportions.
Does not look right. Although it is an Egyptian Meow, which is one of my favorite types of cat. Because I don't like breeds. I'm not into that. I think that's weird and wrong. But an Egyptian Meow is like a breed that occurs naturally in the wild. Because it's one of the earliest cats.
Well, it kind of bugged me though, in that, like it, if you're going to indicate, as they do with that one picture of Selena Kyle's, like flat out Catwoman, like later on in the movie, it's like, yeah, that's a still from Batman Returns you've used there. So if you're going to allude to things like that, why not have this cat be Miss Kitty from Batman Returns, which was a straight black cat, like a just completely black cat. And
but
plus
that's not
that has
Egyptian, and then it can't be a historical thing.
Yeah, but
That's
then
right.
But then that's kind of got like, well, black cats have got kind of witchcrafty connotations and stuff like that.
True.
It would kind of work that way. But this one, like, it is just like, yeah, it just looks like a. Like, I know they tell you, like, oh yeah, it's a Meow and all this stuff, but it just looks like a normal cat. Where had it been a black cat, visually, you would have been like, oh yeah, supernatural connotations and stuff.
Mouse have different legs.
Oh.
Oh.
Duh.
Yeah, they're slightly different.
Is that evident in the film, though? Like, I think
No, absolutely not.
That's why they had to do the CG.
Yeah.
if it had like octopus legs, I would have been like, oh, of course, use that.
That would have been great.
I also felt like this cat wasn't like it's not the only timeless cat. There's like a whole band of them. This cat was just the one that chose patience. Because when the crazy cat professor, who I won't talk about their misunderstanding of tenure, when she says, I forget the cat's name, it has never brought anyone home before, I took it to mean that the other cats of the house have often brought home strays.
Oh.
Okay. I hadn't thought about that. I did think this was the cat. This is the only magic cat. But yeah, you might be right.
Maybe this is the most magic cat.
The first magic cat?
It made the
It
others
made the others cats magic.
Yeah.
in its own image.
Like the Dracula.
At the end of Batman Returns, or Batminute Returns, we had so many ponderings about Miss Kitty, though, where we're like, did Miss Kitty put her own spirit into Selina Kyle? That's why her personality changed so much. At the end, when Miss Kitty shows back up and Bruce picks her up, is that Selina's spirit has gone into the cat and Selina actually died? And then, like, we had a whole big thing. Like, if people are interested, those episodes are right at the end of the season. So, like, just go have at it. But, like, so I'm become intrigued by Miss Kitty now. So I'm genuinely disappointed that this is not any indication that this is the same cat. It's just like, yeah, there may be a band of magic cats, but we're never going to get to find out about them. Because this film did not make its budget back. So
The Catwoman took on all of the notable characteristics that are intrinsic to all cats, such as mad basketball skills, instead of learning how to ride a motorcycle.
Right?
Oh my
And
God.
cutting your own hair.
That basketball scene is one of the greatest scenes in film history.
I agree.
Like,
I agree.
They're
We all just have
essentially
so many to say.
having... They're basically having a very sexually tense, flirty game of basketball in front of small children.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's very erotic.
And she just, like, shows up at this school where this guy is, and they just let her in. Okay.
And it's the kids that instigate they're just standing talking, and then this random kid who also has a T-shirt with a long sleeve shirt on underneath because that's the way it is.
Because it's 2003.
And he's just like, "Hey, how about a little one-on-one?" And they're like, "Oh, who, us?" And then they throw the basketball to these two adults, and then the kids are like egging them on, and you're like, "What the hell has happened here?" Like, what
The kids are all in on this rom-com.
The kids want to see some action. I mean, they say a little one-on-one. That's a euphemism.
Yeah, it's like if you
For playing
played
basketball in velour.
Don't you play basketball in velour?
In the early 2000s, you had to, or
Probably,
they kicked you out of America.
that's the Prince way, and of course the song that plays over it is "Scandalous" by Mystique, which is the same name of a song that the Prince made. So it's all linking together there.
Yeah.
Oh, the music in this movie is chef kiss.
It's next level.
It's so erotic.
Yeah, so there's a lot of sensuality for a movie like this.
Yeah.
I found a lot of the actual score though to be a bit like Hallmark-esque and a little bit like menu music. If you're like on a TV and you have to, if you're on like a skybox or something on a TV and you have to go into the channels and stuff, they have this like terrible kind of not synth, but like some guy just sitting at a keyboard plonking out a tune. That's what this reminded me of in a bizarre way. But anyway, so yeah, as we said there a while back, Patientsville flushed out into sort of a mud pile outside this factory. Flushed out actually by...
It's not mud, it's just like sewage and poop.
Yeah.
She's just covered.
And they actually, the people who do the flushing, interestingly enough, it's Michael Massey. A lot of people would know from like loads of stuff. He's in like he was like the main villain in The Crow, which is also quite similar in plot to Catwoman. He's the guy who became management in Carnival. Like when you find out who management was, it turned out.
Carnival! Watch that, everyone.
He's also he's in like Seven and stuff. He's like, some guys they got suitcases full of stuff. He's that guy in Seven and stuff.
Oh yes, that memorable character. Not a clue.
And his partner is the guy who played Ryu in the Street Fighter movie with like Jean-Claude Van Damme and Raul Julia. And then as much as I like Michael Massey, when I saw him and then he's paired up with this other guy, I was like, why didn't they get the guy who played Ken from Street Fighter in? Like, just do me that favor, Catwoman. Just get the guy who played Ken so we can have the reunion of Ryu and Ken on screen again. Come on.
Just get all of the Street Fighter cast.
Yeah, just Raul Julia's playing Catwoman. Let's like, why not? Let's just go for it.
Hey, if we can make a new Catwoman and we have a CGI Raul Julia, I'm on board.
I'd love to. We worked our way up in Hollywood. Like literally started at the bottom in like the mailroom, and over the course of like 20 years, worked our way up. And then we came into like Warner Brothers and like, well, now we're executive vice presidents, and we just walk into like somebody's office and we're like, this is the movie we're making, and this is a pitch for a remake of Catwoman, but starring CGI versions of the cast of the 1992 Street Fighter movie.
Yes,
and I was like, yeah,
you're like very good, and here's a dump truck full of money backed up to your house.
Like Van Damme, he's playing Sharon Stone.
Yes,
I mean honestly, that movie would probably make bank.
Yeah.
Got Kylie Minogue as Alex Borstein, probably. It's like, I'm not going to go down this road now, because that is going to end up being just like, who could play who? Of course, that movie featured friggin' Chip Shrek as well. Andrew Brianarski, so I guess he could reprise his role just in honor of the fact that he was Chip Shrek.
Of course, yeah. Everyone's favorite character in Batman.
Yeah, of course. But the weird thing is, so we already mentioned, right, so the general plot line of what the scheme of the company is kind of what they did in the Feats of Clay episode in the animated series. And then her origin story, though, like, and flushed out of this chemical factory and then sort of, dying and becoming reborn, very similar to the Joker as well. So it's kind of like they're just mixing and matching their Batman villains. Like, take a little from column A, a little from column B. We'll swipe a bit from that old Batman movie. There you go. Bada bing, you got Catwoman.
It's as if they didn't care. Terrible.
No.
And then potentially my favorite scene of the movie, when she's learning that she has cat powers, which is not the musician cat powers.
Cat powers.
But
that's the plot of this movie. Halle Berry just takes on all the powers of cat power.
Even better.
The end of it is just her releasing her first EP. It's like, she made it. She made it, cat powers.
And then it leaves it open for a sequel.
Yeah. But no, she realizes that like she's got heightened senses. So there's like a drastic close-up of like a CGI seagull that's approaching her. And then she looks at the scorpion that's going past, and it starts going into that like those American home movie shows where they send in like videos of their animals, and they're like in a close-up photo lens where it's just like this following this scorpion scuttling along with a weird.
Why was there a scorpion there? That's not their habitat.
I don't. Is it not? I don't know. It's America. It's an alien foreign land to me. Do you not just have scorpions roaming?
Just everywhere.
Just all over the place. You can't move for scorpions.
It's not Australia. We can walk without seeing a frightening beast.
Unless you're in Florida.
Well, true.
Yeah, Florida and... I could be wrong again because I've never been. Both Florida and California just sound like they would have things like that to me.
California, not quite so much. You have to get into more of like the desert states.
Yeah,
I mean, California has some
desert,
but it's
in my mind
more of like Arizona.
As a foreigner, to me, California. Oh yeah, that place with the deserts. Yeah, that's all I think. I don't know anything else. You got movies are made there, and there's deserts, and there's aliens.
I mean, you've pretty much covered it. Also, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge.
Oh yeah, which I'll never get to go to.
Well, maybe if you get enough patrons on Patreon.
Yes, if you pay for me and Niall to go, we will do a bonus episode of your choice. There you go. That's fair, right? That's equal.
Yeah, of course. Of course, Patreon's now up as well. It should be by the time this airs. But yeah, we got that Tim Burton's Aladdin episode out. It's crazy good times.
Man, if I had like absolutely crazy money, I would pay for you both to go, and my condition would be that you do Catwoman minute by minute.
I'm on board.
I would do it for that.
I would totally do it.
That's one of the things. Like, where's the catch, Alyson? Like, I don't see
Sometimes I think about like the pranks I would pull on my friends if I had ridiculous amounts of money.
I like your style of pranks. We may remain friends.
Yes, but I would also hire a mariachi band to follow you around Disney for the day, so
Don't
it's
care.
a blessing and a curse.
Worth it.
Could I at least, instead of a mariachi band, could I have like a medieval bard singing
Absolutely.
tales of my journeys?
Yes, yes. Like the Sir Robin singer in
Yes.
Monty Python. Yeah.
Boldly brave Sir Robin. I need that.
Oh
Okay.
man, we're gonna be mentioning Sir Robin so many times when we get to Robin in a Batman movie. It's gonna
How
be
did
like,
I not make this connection just now? What the hell?
I'm just bracing myself. It's like he's coming next season. We're gonna land that.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Robin is coming.
Oh, so one thing from my notes, I didn't take that many notes. But when she goes to the party, before she went there, I was like, oh, she should immediately go into the party and get on the table and knock a drink off. And then she did it.
Yes.
And my husband was like, this is like when you try to out stupid wrestling. You can't do it. Because sometimes during a wrestling match, I'll be like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if you like carried the guy outside and threw him in a dumpster? And then it happens.
Yeah, the thing that
Like,
you think
can't out stupid it.
that's never going to happen. I used to do that with when it was good and still a thing. Lucha Underground.
I love Lucha Underground.
I'd be like, wouldn't it be crazy if that guy just turned into a dragon and flew away?
And then he did.
And then he did.
Like, and wouldn't it be crazy if this guy like went back in time 1,000 years? Lucha Underground was the wrestling program of my dreams.
Oh, it's
and
beautiful.
I miss it and love it forever.
I know it was. We didn't deserve it. It was too perfect.
No, we really didn't. I did get the logo tattooed though.
Oh my god, I didn't realize.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, Catwoman.
Catwoman.
No, because that's the thing, though.
Cat, and she's also a woman.
Oh yeah, her outfit actually in this when she is Catwoman, that's a bit like a wrestling outfit from the mid 2000s.
Oh, it is.
That's extraordinary.
So much.
You'd have some of the. I
But
don't
on
know.
a man.
See, I was thinking more, the era of HLA. Eric Bischoff with his hot lesbian action.
Oh.
Very uncomfortable to watch. But he'd just have these very mid 2000s women just start kissing each other for no reason in the middle of the ring. And you're like, this is wrestling, apparently.
This is wrestling.
That's the thing, though, because once you actually get to, like, when she has her finished... It's weird to call it a finished Catwoman outfit, because it seems like it's the most unfinished outfit of anything ever.
Yeah.
But
Friends just like bought her this outfit.
Yeah,
I
what's
don't have any
that?
friends like that.
Yeah. They bought her it because she's too demure and they were trying to, like, get her a man or something?
Yeah, so here's this leather bondage outfit.
Right, that you are totally not going to be prepared for the type of man who wants to spend time with you if you meet him wearing that.
I think like they might have originally have just been like they bought her a leather jacket that was really fancy, and then she wears that for the first little bit when she's Catwoman, where she just looks a bit like kind of like the Eartha Kitt kind of era, where she's just got the little domino mask and stuff, and then she adapts it. I guess they're trying to do like much like Michelle Pfeiffer. She took a leather coat or whatever and turned it into her outfit.
And a sewing machine.
But like Patience Phillips really messed it up, so all she was left with was like
tatters.
cut off all the material, couldn't use any of it, and now I just got this bra, basically.
At least in her case, she's an artist, and it's, not that much of a stretch to assume that, okay, maybe she knows how to sew.
I do actually have a quote from the Academy Award-winning costume designer of this.
Oh, God.
Angus Strathy, who worked on the catsuit with Pitof and Denise Denovi, who of course produced Batman Returns and stuff. His quote on it is, "We wanted a very reality-based wardrobe to show the progression from demure, repressed patients to the sensual awakening of a sexy warrior goddess. So it's like...
Well, they failed there,
Yeah.
then.
Bootcut leather pants. Done.
That's all you need.
And let's give her like a hardcore "let me speak to your manager" haircut.
Oh, yeah.
This doesn't immediately age her 15 years.
Yeah. I know it was a
all.
popular hairdo at the time, but now it is specifically women named Karen.
I liked her hair so much in the beginning of the movie. It was so pretty.
I did too, but then I was like, is this me being like, oh, I really like your processed white girl hair? And then she cuts it all off, and is that like a higher level of her taking back her racial power?
But she
It's
makes
not,
it even more
but-
processed white girl hair.
Yeah, it's like
And then I
bleached
looked at
straightened
it
after
again,
that.
and I went, no.
So I do have to wonder, though, because, like, this is out just a little smidge before X-Men The Last Stand. And so I wonder, because Storm has a very severe haircut in that as well. I'm wondering, did Halle Berry just cut her hair, and then they're like, this is what you're stuck with now for the next couple of movies? And then
I
that's...
think so. I think she cut it, because I think that one at the start's a wig.
Oh, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
Oh, for
that
sure.
there's- And then it's just like, when they came into X-Men, they're just like, all right, I guess we're just dyeing this hair white now, or whatever. So, I did wonder as well, like, the fantastical hair-cutting powers that she inherits from the cats. It struck me, like, I was thinking, like, is this supposed to be a kind of knock at Tim Burton? Because she gets out the 2 scissors, and she's just cutting her own hair, like, oh, she's a wonder hair cutter now. And it's a bit like Edward Scissorhands. I was like, I wonder if it was a little pot shot. I was like, that's right, Tim, you could have directed this movie, but you went on to attempt to adapt The Fall of the House of Usher, and then just didn't even do either of the damn movies. So. But tragically, other things, you think of other Tim Burton movies, if you think they do a little thing of like, there's always a sin of any bad movie when they remind you of a thing that you could be watching. Because they have the bit when she comes back from her death, and then she like looks at herself, her reflection in the apartment mirror, and then, or not the apartment mirror, in the window, and then out of anger she like smashes it, and it's kind of like when Selena Kyle trashed her apartment. Whereas that scene is like,
Oh man, I could be watching Disney's Beauty and the Beast.
But would it be as fun?
but it's like, oh, remember how great that scene is in Batman Returns, where it's like really powerful, and she's like tearing her life down, and she throws a frying pan at the mirror and stuff. It's like, well, we did that, but with no emotion behind it, and you don't even know why she's breaking the window. It just seems like, oh, you're gonna have to, you're gonna have to walk over a load of broken glass in your incredibly huge apartment that she has as well. Because that's
Yeah.
Oh,
the
boy.
thing with Patience Phillips is like she seems to be quite successful. Like Selena Kyle was she had the whole thing in Batman Returns. It was like she is, a person who is not privileged in any way, who is ground down by the city and ends up turning to a life of crime essentially in order to get some sense of justice. Whereas on the flip side, Batman was like, he's a man of immense privilege who the city also took out, but he sort of has changed himself to get justice for others and stuff. Whereas this is just like, yeah, this is a woman who's quite successful and then just gets involved in the scheme. She doesn't like the set designers for Batman Returns were like, oh, we try to give Selena a really dowdy small apartment and stuff to show you how much of a failure she was. Even though if you look at the movie, it's not that small an apartment. It looks pretty okay for somebody in a large metropolitan city in their mid-20s.
Yeah.
Whereas Patience Phillips is like, holy crap, this place is a mansion in comparison to some people's places. So I don't really
She's got money. She's doing well.
Yeah, she's just got a mean boss.
Yeah.
That's the worst of her problems. Oh, my boss is a bit of a dick.
And it's the scene where she's at work and then the boss comes in to tell her off and then she flips the tables on him is the most like, nowadays that would be a Tumblr story where you see it and there's like, and it has that bit, and then everyone in the room clapped and stuff. And you're like, that never happened. Stop lying about everything, Tumblr. Like, what was every story I see posted from there is just like, that never happened. It just never.
There is one bit of that, like, her getting fired scene that I really do enjoy because she just, like, she has a super baller move where he's berating her and she's just ignoring him. She's not reacting to anything he says. She's just like, oh, I'm sorry. Were you talking? Oh, my bad. I am pretty busy over here doodling in my bullet journal.
I guess that is a good move on this guy. But I was quite surprised, though, that he himself came down to do this. Because he's like, the guy's like the head of the company. And then why is he coming down to like one person in like, I guess it's the art department or something to personally tell her off?
He gets off on yelling at people.
Yeah,
He's like,
we've all had bosses like that.
Yeah.
I've got an opportunity to really just go tear into someone today.
They do it when they're bored. They're sick.
I thought it was, because it does literally have the bit of like she tells him off, gets fired, and then like the whole room started clapping. Basically, that old cliche. But the guy's right outside the room. You think he'd come back in? It's like, what the hell are you all clapping for? Oh, you're all fired. The hell with you? Like, I'll fire everybody. You think I'm scared of you people?
Hey,
So-
can't fire them all. Much like Area 51, they can't stop us all.
I have a feeling
It's
this guy could
because-
fire them all, though. Like, he could just be like, hey, am I coming? No, you're all gone. The hell with you?
Well, it's because she tried the remix. That's why.
Oh, yes.
That only allowed him to fire her. The remix is where, like, then all of the rest of the workers are protected by her departure. That's what she meant when she said, well, then let's try the remix.
We're onto it.
But yeah, so she's fired. The scenes of her walking around, she's hissing at dogs and stuff. It start really getting into like, hey, you know what we didn't have enough of in the last movie? Remember the way everybody loved when like Selena Kyle was like giving herself a bath and things like that? Let's do that, but for everything associated with cats.
She orders milk in a bar.
Yeah.
And, she laps it.
Oh, that was my favorite bit. Was just like,
And the
what?
bartender is like, yeah, that's hot.
Yeah, he is fair play to that guy. He is so just like, all right, whatever you want. Like, 'cause she comes in like, yeah, I'll have a white Russian. Hold the vodka, hold the ice, hold the Kahlua. It's like, it's a glass of milk. It's just like, oh,
Wow, that's so sexy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
A grown woman drinking milk.
At a nightclub.
I think they could have had her doing cat things in a fun, interesting, realistic way. Like if she had the white Russian. And you're like, oh, that's funny because it's got milk in it. But then they had to take it that extra step, didn't they? They just had to go too damn far.
But I really commend that bartender because it's in the middle of this club scene where everyone's kind of dressed in kind of fetishistic sort of stuff. And so he's not fazed when she comes over and she's dressed like what she's dressed like in this movie. And he's just like, all right, I've seen this before. And then her requesting this very odd order, he's just like, yeah, I respect it. Fair enough. You didn't
The
have
designated driver.
Yeah.
I think he just works at like a fetish bar, so he's used to all the weird requests.
He's like,
So it's
fuck,
like,
this one's new, but...
I
into
commend them for portraying a guy in a weird situation who's just like, hey, yeah, fair play. If that's what you want, I'll roll with it. But to get other things then of like friggin', was it like, there's a bit where she's eating like 6 cans of tuna on a bed.
Oh,
Yeah,
gross.
that gross.
Like sexily on a bed.
Ugh. Get that
Oh, the
tuna out of
smell.
your bed, girl.
Oh, your bed's gonna smell like tuna now.
Forever.
Oh my god! Imagine if you did drop some and you didn't realize, and then like
Till
a week
the
later,
end,
you're
you'd
like,
just-
"What the hell's that?"
You'd have to burn it. Just... the whole house, I mean.
This is like the curse of the Catwoman, though, because in Batman Returns, we bemoaned the fact that like, oh, Selena spills that milk all over the floor, and I know because I've been in a flat where I spilled milk on the floor. I thought it was cleaned up, but no, you did have to get into cracks, and it will stink the place out.
It is never all cleaned up.
Yeah, and then it's just like, so that must be part of the when you're brought back to life. It makes you not think about the sanitary conditions of your living situation. So you're smashing windows open and just leaving the glass out, I guess. You're just
I've already
leaving...
died once. That didn't stick.
Well, the tuna eating though, just instantly. I mean, Niall will know what I'm saying. I hope you guys do. It instantly made me think of Neil Breen.
Oh, yeah.
In Double Down, one of the greatest movies of all time, where
don't
he's
know
driving a car, and while driving his car, eating about 15 cans of tuna.
No.
As you do, perfectly normal weekend for me.
No? That's the cutscene of that movie where Neil Breen actually dies and is brought back to life by a cat. It was the spiritual sequel to Catwoman. Catman.
Oh. Catman. Yeah, because what we really need in this world is to gender flip these female roles. There's too many female superheroes these days.
I agree.
Why isn't there a Catwoman for men?
Exactly.
This is like Sony's new announcement. Like, we did it with Ghostbusters, but now we're bringing Catwoman back with a dude.
Hell yeah.
Bill Murray is playing Catwoman. Actually, there you go. That's like, yeah, I'm sold.
That was just the Garfield movie.
Hey folks, so just letting you know that this is the end of part 1 of our Catwoman coverage. People who know Bat Minutes will know that we tend to ramble on a bit, so what was initially going to be a 1-episode wonder is now in fact 2. But the conclusion will be out in a couple of days, but meanwhile, next time, a catastrophic conclusion to our Siamese episode. Patience's new Persian persona persists in pushing the patriarchy's button, but a fiendish pharmaceutical rep proceeds to prompt the perception of Phillips as a felon. Laurel Hedare has Catwoman by the British short hairs, but will our berry bomb blow her lid and follow her basic instinct to end this monster's ball once and for all like a fearsome Bengal? We'll totally recall events in part 2. Same cat pod, different cat minute. Thanks for listening.